And we're back on Morning Barbados at 11 minutes after the hour of 6 o'clock. You know, we've just started a new year, and it is interesting that James Stuart, a Barbadian poet, on page 50 of his new book of poems of inspiration, talks about a chance for a better life. And it begins like this: another wonderful year is before us, but they go by so quickly, my dear, that it's time to stop being so selfish and uncaring of good people, quite rare. James, good morning and welcome.
Good morning, sir.
I can imagine on an Old Year's Day or towards the end of December, you sat and was inspired by something that caused you to reflect on the opportunity for a better life?
Yes, I don't think it happened that Old Year's Day, but there was a lady who seemed not to understand how to appreciate anything. Mm-hmm. She had a lot of things done for her, and she seemed not to appreciate anything at all. Mm-hmm. So I thought of it. I said, maybe I should tell her about herself. You know, you don't know anything. I said, no, I wouldn't do that. I would write a letter then, and no, I said, don't do that either. Mm-hmm. But since I wrote poetry, one came to me, and that is the one that you have right there before you.
Okay.
So I wrote the poem, and I took it to her, and I read it for her. She said, I know how I'm like, but I can't help it. So I don't believe that people can. I believe that people can do anything they want to do if they really want to do it. But that's how that poem came about.
Okay. I see we both went to Wesley Hall.
Oh, yes.
At what age were you inspired or motivated by poetry?
Actually, I got motivated even at Wesley Hall because, you know, some people think that you had to go to Commonwealth and Harrison College and all that to get into the arts. But we had Mr. Broom, Mr. C.F. Broom, maybe a little before your time, I don't know. But however, Mr. Broom was a wonderful teacher and a beautiful man as well. And we learned, instead of talking about all the old books from England and all that stuff, we did have some poetry and different things like that we used to read. The stories also about the lion and the mouse and, you know, the
owl and the pussycat,
the piper and all those kinds of things like that. So I went from way back there.
Well, it seems you've had this collection or compiled this collection over the years, because this is a wealth of poetry. How long did you start putting together your thoughts and creating your poems?
Well, I started several years ago. I was raising my kids. You know, I went to the United States. I wouldn't tell you how long ago. It was a very long time. I was a member of the police band, and my girlfriend went to the States, and she sent for me, and I left the police band, and I was there. I started writing these things little by little for a long time. But as the situation come up, because I seem to be quite aware of a lot of different things, and I start writing them. And then as I wrote, I become more into it. You know, I start to see more things that I want to write about, and things that I didn't like, I want to write about how people should try to change them, and that's how that came. But it's only recently that I decided to put poems together, because there was a gentleman. Strangely enough, this gentleman was a homeless man, and he said to me, well, he read some of my poetry. He says, you know, you should write a book, because people should see these things that you write. And although he was a homeless man, he inspired me to do that. So I compiled this thing, and I give him credit in the book for it.
Mm-hmm. Okay. You have a part of the book titled Informational Poems, and you say these poems are written from the perspective of the author, and although they may not be universally agreeable, is it that you just want to make your point, you just want to get your point across and put it in writing, and is it brought about by frustration from your experiences, or
not at all.
From the better things in life?
Not at all. The things that I write there, I see a lot of things from a perspective that many people don't see it from.
Okay.
And because of the amount of years I've lived, I've seen a lot of different things. And some people, it's very difficult for them to see things in the way that somebody who's more experienced sees it. And that's why I said that.
Give us a background to a blueprint for
For
liberation.
I think that you got to go back to another point before that, which is Anatomy of a Nation. You see, when I went to the United States also, there was a time with with Martin Luther King. It was that kind of time, all the marching and everything that's going on. It was also a time when we had Malcolm X. So I was very involved in what's going on. You see, I got involved and I saw a lot of stuff. So I wrote that poem there. But can I tell you about, you asked me about the liberation one, but can I tell you just a little bit about why I wrote the other one, which brings about the liberation one? I looked at the United States. I live in the United States now for 55 years. I look at the United States and I see a lot of things. When I went there and I read the history there, I read the history as a foreigner. I didn't read it as an American. So what some foreigners would have been happy about, I was not happy about, you see. So I'm writing there about all the injustices that were done to people, even starting from the slavery and after that, all the way up to the time that Dr. Martin Luther King and those got beaten up and all that in order to make a point, in order to get justice for black people. And that's why I wrote that one about
the Anatomy of a Nation.
Yes.
Well, and it begs the question, perhaps you overlooked our own history in Barbados because it too was not without struggle.
Yes, well, maybe I did. Maybe I did, because when I came up in Barbados, I saw a lot of people looking like me, you know, in offices, in the government, and things like that. But when I went to the United States, I didn't see that. And I think that's where it is, where that's at. I didn't see that. I didn't see people looking like me.
The disparity was
Even when
great.
I had my kids and going to school, at first I didn't see people looking like us teaching the kids. And so I have to agree with you, maybe I overlooked something in Barbados, but I know Barbados had a history of slavery as well, you know. But I was talking about that, and at that time I lived in the United States a very long time. So I was more concentrating on what was happening in the United States.
Well, let me ask you to express in your own voice, in your own way, some of those feelings. Okay, here we go.
Which one?
Liberation.
Anatomy of a Nation? Well, I could recite.
You can.
Most of my poems I could recite them.
Okay.
However, I would give you a little piece of this.
Okay.
I look at the injustices that's gone on there. I say, how can we, in this great land some like to call the last and best hope of man, be so presumptuous to believe that man's inhumanity to man is not unjust, but merely an expedient plan, and that brave souls haven't had their spirits beaten into the ground, and then, lacking the supernatural power of the great, themselves from their predicament to extricate must somehow not be sprung, but left to suffocate and die in their excrement where they lie as the stench reaches to the sky. Do you want any more?
It's moving indeed.
Yes.
Profound.
Have you shared a lot of your work with friends and who might have experienced similar events in their lives? And is this book an educational tool for young people who are enjoying the sweetness of life now and might be missing,
You are hitting on the point. You're hitting on the point. That's what it's all about. Apart from the book, I went to the United States and I became a businessman. We made draperies, window shades, upholstery, all that sort of thing. And at the time, there weren't too many black people, especially Barbadians, going to business in the United States. And so I see everything from this perspective. I'm raising my kids. But the questions you asked, yes, I'll please repeat it because I think I have so much going on in my head today. I probably missed the question.
No, you were fine. The point I was making, you see this as an educational tool.
Yeah, there you are. Now, since I've retired, sort of, and I've turned my place into, I had a big place of showroom and all that, I turned it into like a little banquet hall and a place where you can have seminars and so on. I mean, I am a very spiritual man, and I felt strongly that I had a lot of good things happen to me in my life. when I talk about the good things that happen in my life, I always tend to get a little
You get emotional.
So what I want to do, I promised God, I got a big building when I didn't even have any money to get it. See? So I promised God, when I decided that I'm not going to use it for that anymore, I'm going to use it to help people. And when you're talking about people, I look and I see so many people have not been well brought up. They didn't have a father. They didn't have all these things. I said, I want to do something to these kids. And not only for the kids, but this book is not a Barbadian book, as you might notice. This is a book about people, regardless of whether they're in China or whether in Germany or whatever. This is a book about people. And I'm hoping that this book will spread the world over. That may be a little presumptuous of me, but that's what I'm hoping.
I think it has a lot of hope within it, a lot of strength, inner strength. You can tell from the various poems. There's one that I found myself reading as soon as we started this morning. It's called "Overcoming Fear."
Oh my goodness! Yes, sir.
And if I could just share with our viewers a couple lines from it. Fear can become the enemy of the soul. If embraced, it will take control and never let you see the beauty and light of day, only the darkness and shadows of night. Fear often makes one think of flight, when like a hero he should stand and fight.
Yes, for justice in the face of might. Yes.
This is an excellent poem.
Thank you.
Do you think that more immigrants should try to capture the essence of their experience during those years and put them all together and create some kind of foundation for people thinking about immigrating today? Because a lot of people, they still see America as the land of milk and honey with streets paved with gold. They see Canada and they see some of those other countries, and they don't realize that there's still a struggle.
I would like to direct your attention to a poem called A Poetic Love Letter to Barbados. I would like to direct your attention to that poem.
Let's hear a little bit of that one.
Yes. My Barbados, oh, how I love you. The wonderful land of my birth. You may be one of the smallest, but one of the most beautiful places on earth. You didn't give me lots of money, but the abundance of things that money can't buy, and that's the reason why I'm going to love you till I die. Whenever I've had to leave your shores, I've left my heart with you, because giving it to someone else is something I could never do. You helped to make me what I am today, and I'm so proud to be a son of the Barbadian soil, where my mother gave birth to me. It goes on, but it was raised in the foods of Barbados and all the things that I learned in Barbados that helped me to be a better person in the United States.
But James Stuart, let me ask you this. At what point in your life was that poem written? Was it when you sat in a damp, cold apartment in the middle of winter, when you knocked the radiator and there was no heat, or was it later on in life when you look back and you know?
No, I have not had a hard life in the United States at all.
Okay.
Okay, I have not had it. But I think that all these things start from when you're young. That's why I'm so interested in the youth. Because a lot of what I'm saying is my mother, the things that she taught us, the kind of life she lived before us, right here in Barbados. And she had 8 children, and we didn't have a lot, but she always had something to share, regardless of who came in. And she had a little, she will divide it into a million pieces, everybody share. And those are the things that I see that's lacking, even in Barbados as I come back to Barbados. Everybody have a lot more now material things than they had before. But that, they're narcissistic and they're selfish. And that is what I like to bring back to people.
It's a hope of bringing back the old values.
Yes, I don't want to bring them back to the old days, but I want them to reclaim some of those values, which made us what we are and brought us out from where we were into slavery, even in Barbados, and help us to get a government and all that. It's those things that our foreparents taught us that were strong. And that's what I think is missing. I think we got to get back to that.
If you could change, in addition to the values, as you look around Barbados today, and you see things, if you were given the opportunity to make changes, what would you do?
Which things you talking about?
Whatever it is that floats your boat, whatever irks you, whatever Inspiration there
You know,
is.
Since I came here, I've been here now I came for 6 weeks, and I'm now starting my last week. I came here and something was going on, caused me to write a little poem. I don't know that I can recite it for you, but it talks about people. I think the tourist board might be interested in it in a way. You know, it's talking about if you come here from Canada, the United Kingdom, or USA, hold on. There ain't no rushing down here. You know, you can't get nothing done in just one day. It's that sort of thing. Because I come here a little bit.
Yeah, you peep with the bureaucracy and the red tape. Okay.
You come here, this body ain't working today, you know, you'll come back next week. Now, we don't have that back there. And I've been there so long that I'm into that. So I come here, people tell me to come for an appointment at 10 o'clock. I get there 10 o'clock, they're not there. 10:30, they're not there. That sort of thing is one of the things that I think that they would complain about.
Okay. Well, it's
punctuality and things like that.
Yeah, and it's interesting how we chalk it up to our culture.
Yeah, to being Barbadian culture.
It's a Caribbean culture.
But it's interesting that you said that because I recall making the same statement. You don't expect to come back home and want I want everything to move swiftly. It's slowly. Yeah,
it's good in a way, but too much is too much. You know, it's good that you don't want to have blood pressure and heart attacks and that sort of thing because you come here and want a laid back place. But then you don't need to be so unreliable, you know. Tell somebody to come here, they have somebody else waiting on them, and you making them late for the other point and things like that. That is something that I think needs to be stressed.
And these things all inspire you to write. In the couple of minutes that we have left, James Stewart, tell us about, you ever been called Jimmy Stewart?
Yes, I have. My son, I call him Jimmy Stewart, but he's talking about Jimmy Stewart, the actor.
The actor, I was just teasing.
Yeah, well, I was a little actor. The police band was in Island in the Sun, and when I was in the police band.
Oh, okay.
And the police band was in Island in the Sun with Harry Belafonte and Dorothy Dandridge and those people like that.
Well, let me ask you, of all those poems in the book, which is your favorite?
You know, I tried to answer that question. And I will just say quickly, I don't know how much time you got. My mother had 8 children, and she promised one of her sisters who didn't have any children one of the kids. She said, okay, I'll give you one. The night came, and she asked to give away this kid, and she looking all around, going to the bed, looking at each one. No, I can't give you that one. I can't give you that one. When it came to the end, she told me, look, I know I promised, but I can't part with either one of them. Now, I don't know which of these is the best, because they're all so different. But if you're at the end of this podcast, I would like to leave you one poem that I would like people to take away.
Go ahead.
And I give you a slight hints how I get the poem. I had a cousin who went into service in the Air Force in the United States as a reverend. You know, he was an Anglican minister and he was a captain. He became then a major. And then later on, he, at a function that I had for a 50th anniversary, wedding anniversary, a cousin of mine, he was there to do the invocation and part of the family. So he was telling me about he's on the list to become a lieutenant colonel shortly. I went home, I wasn't thinking anything about it anymore, but when I got home about 12:30 at night, I went to bed. Wake up about 3:15 with a poem in my head. I later called it A Guide to True Success. People judge success by the car, by the house, by the job, and this is not really true success. So this is what I want to say for you. If I should up the ladder go and cease to think of those below, how empty would my success be? And lonely that high place for me. But if I, as I upward climb, reach back my hand to those behind with a loving heart and actions kind to bring them on, I'm sure to find companionship and comfort there, with friends who are so glad to share the happiness of my success, as God will my achievements bless. So teach me, Lord, your love to know, that I may help others as I go. A long life's journey wherever you may lead, for only then will I truly succeed. Amen.
James Stewart, inspiring memories and messages this morning. We thank you for sharing them with all of our Morning Barbadian viewers.
Well, I thank you. I thank CBC. and all who connected me to CBC for the privilege, and I thank you so very much.
Thank you again, and thank you too, and we'll be right back.